Welcome to Football Scientific. I'm Professor of Football Science, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com. I just wrote my critical stats article for Week 12 of the NFL today. Check that out on FootballAnalysisOne.com. Post many other articles I've written recently about Week 12. Tomorrow I'll be releasing our updated power rankings of the NFL before Week 13, which starts on Thursday, Thanksgiving. Big week, big day for NFL football, Thanksgiving. So I'll be having my power rankings out before that. But before I did that, I wanted to go through our breakdown of Week 12 of the NFL and go over results of the games, go through our AFC and NFC power rankings, and then go through some CFL signings before we move on to Week 13. This is our Week 12 wrap-up show here. So joining me is my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger here, ready to go, working with the professor to get our power rankings right for the AFC and NFC, and then our ultimate power rankings for the article on FootballAnalysisOne.com. Check it out. We're working hard to analyze data and stats and get it all right. Yes, and also transactions. So we're going to start off today with NFL transactions that seem important. So, and injuries and such. So these are all important, especially the fantasy owners. These are all very important, okay? So first, I saw just now Buffalo Bills have signed wide receiver Brandon Cooks to their active roster, hopefully give them a deep threat at receiver. If you remember, the New Orleans Saints were preparing to release Brandon Cooks from their practice squad. Okay, it didn't work out with him. And he has cleared waivers today, and now he gets signed by the Buffalo Bills. He's adding to their receiver area, so maybe they'll give him a deep threat and help diversify their offense for Josh Allen there. Carolina Panthers signed veteran linebacker Trayvon Moehrig, okay, and no. Yes, okay, so they signed veteran linebacker Isaiah Simmons, okay, who played at Clemson, but then they have suspended Panthers safety Trayvon Moehrig, okay, so they signed linebacker Isaiah Simmons, who had been successful at Clemson as a standout, but now they have suspended safety Trayvon Moehrig for what? For punching Jawan Jennings' groin on last night's Monday Night Football game. Pretty creepy. LA Chargers, they have opened a practice window for running back Omarion Hampton, so maybe their running back issues that have popped them at 7-5 are over. Maybe they'll get Hampton back and be looking like contenders again. They're slowly slipping out of the wild card window. I mean, they're still ahead of the Chiefs by a half game, but they're slipping out. Indianapolis Colts, they play wide receiver Ashton Dulin on the IR, and they signed safety George Odom to the 53-man roster. Just some roster adjustments for the Colts. New Orleans Saints signed kicker Cade York to their practice squad. Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, as has been happening the last couple weeks, took a day off yesterday because of his toe injury during walkthroughs, but he practiced today. He is expected to play versus the Bengals on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night football. Seattle Seahawks are working to sign Quandre Diggs to their practice squad. These keep floating around. Boom. Pittsburgh Steelers are optimistic that Aaron Rodgers will return to the field against Buffalo on Sunday. That was per Mike Tomlin. New Orleans Saints, they have signed former Packers wide receiver Samori Toure, to replace Brandon Cooks. Buffalo Bills signed defensive end Shaq Lawson to their practice squad. He had played for them previously, and they released defensive end Andre Jones Jr., I guess just to get some more depth at edge rusher. Kansas City Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco is expected to return against Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving in the afternoon game. And that's probably big for fantasy owners if you have Isaiah Pacheco. He's coming back. Okay, Philadelphia Eagles. Boom. They have placed rookie safety Andrew Makuba on the IR due to an ankle injury. He's going to get surgery done on his ankle fractured ankle. Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders has earned his second start against San Francisco this week. Now, why is that important? Because Dillon Gabriel has cleared, the previous starting quarterback of the Browns, has cleared, also a rookie, has cleared concussion protocol, so they could put Dillon Gabriel back in, but because Shedeur Sanders played fairly well last week, I'd go with Shedeur Sanders again. So he gets a second round to prove himself at quarterback, start as a starter with the Browns. Las Vegas Raiders, head coach Pete Carroll, if you remember, he fired Chip Kelly, will help fire Chip Kelly at the beginning of the week. They have named quarterback coach Greg Olson as their new offensive coordinator. This is Greg Olson's third stint as the Raiders offensive coordinator. It seems they keep recycling the dude. I'm not sure if that's growth or not, man. He gets to keep the same dude coming in. Washington Commanders, they have opened a 21-day practice window for wide receiver Noah Brown. Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy is in the concussion protocol, and so is Carson Wentz. So that's bad, because who does Minnesota have for quarterback then if J.J. McCarthy is not clear of concussion protocol? Well, it looks like undrafted free agent Max Brosmer will be getting the start against Seattle. That's bad for Minnesota. Real bad news. If you're a Minnesota fan. Cleveland Browns, Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, we went over that. Cincinnati Bengals, head coach Zach Taylor is saying that Joe Burrow is going to return this week against the Ravens on Thanksgiving night, but there will be no T. Higgins and there will be no Trey Hendrickson. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think it's going to help to have Joe Burrow come back. He's just going to be at risk. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. It was only a toe, though. Seriously. I mean, Lamar Jackson missed a practice for a toe. Whatever. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield suffered an AC joint fracture against the Rams. AC joint injury. It was no fracture, and it shows that he's probably good for this week. He might start. He might not. They need him to, and they're quickly falling out of place in the NFC South. Had the Panthers won last night, they would be in first place over Tampa Bay, but they didn't. They lost because their offense couldn't produce after turnovers. So, with that in mind, here's a breakdown of all the games from Week 12 of the NFL season, or NFL Week 12 of the NFL 2025 NFL season. Buffalo Bills, Houston Texans on Thursday night. Huge upset in my mind. The Buffalo Bills got completely shut down by the Houston Texans defense. Josh Allen went 24 for 32 for 253 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he got sacked 8 times. James Cook ran the ball for 17 yards for 116 yards for a touchdown. That did not save them. That could not save them. That's trouble because that was their solution to. That's probably why they're signing Brandon Cooks, is because they have no other solutions left for their offensive problems. Khalil Shakir, 8 catches for 110 yards. So the only person who didn't do well is Josh Allen. That's because he was under fire the entire time. And Buffalo had no solutions for that. So, I mean, they had to do something. So Brandon Cooks, I guess, is the answer. Houston Texans, Davis Mills came in, went 16 for 30, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't have to do much because his defense did most of the work. Woody Marks, 16 carries, 74 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Their offense really wasn't that great. Christian Kirk, 5 catches, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. Their offense is not that good. But C.J. Stroud's probably returned this week, and they might become explosive again, which would be dangerous for that defense. Texans won the game 23-19. Boom. Next, on Sunday, Minnesota Vikings traveled to Green Bay Packers. Early on in that game, the Vikings competed pretty well, but in the second half, J.J. McCarthy came out and went 12, threw 2 interceptions, and only threw for 87 passing yards with 5 sacks, holding the ball too long. Aaron Jones had 9 catches, 5 carries for 41 yards, not real effective on the ground. Justin Jefferson had 4 catches, 48 yards, not real effective to the air. That's because of J.J. McCarthy. Okay, Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love went 14 for 21 for 139 yards. Did not tear it up, but did enough to win. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Emmanuel Wilson, because Josh Jacobs was out, 28 carries, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. A big day for Emmanuel Wilson, which is probably why it turned out the way it did. Christian Watson had 5 catches, 49 yards, and 0 touchdowns. What happened? Packers won 23-6. They also had 5 sacks on J.J. McCarthy, 5 sacks. And Jordan Love only got sacked 1 time. So basically the Packers defensively dominated the game and did enough offensively to win. Okay. Indianapolis Colts and Kansas City Chiefs. Colts came in as my number 1 team in the power rankings off their bye week. Daniel Jones came out and went 19 for 31 for 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jonathan Taylor had 16 carries, 58 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Now, I saw a stat somewhere that says when they give Jonathan Taylor the ball 18 times or more, they win every game. They've only done that 4 times. So that's a misleading stat, I think. But Michael Pittman had 5 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown. 16 carries is not 18. Mental note. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes came out and went 25 for 49, 26 for 49, 382 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a great day, but not a bad day. Kareem Hunt had 30 carries for 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big day for him. Rashee Rice had 8 catches for 141 yards. Big day for him. What happened in this game? Colts jumped out to a 29 lead, 28-9 lead, not 29-point lead, 20-9 lead. Chiefs came back, got several stops in the fourth quarter, converted those into a field goal, a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and then a field goal in overtime, and won the game 23-20 in overtime. Really kind of a devastating loss for the Colts, okay, because they had the game sewn up and then they blew it. New England Patriots at Cincinnati Bengals. No one gave the Bengals much of a chance in this game, to be honest. Patriots came, especially with no Joe Burrow, honestly. Drake May came in, went 22 for 35, 294 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not great, but serviceable. Travion Henderson ran the ball 18 times with 66 yards. Not outstanding, but not bad. No turnovers. Hunter Henry had 7 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. When your tight end's the lead receiver, it's probably trouble for a team like the Patriots, who have a lot of receiver playmakers. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Flacco came out and went 19 for 37 for 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Unfortunately, that 1 interception was a pick 6 by Marcus Jones of the Patriots, and you can tell how that's going. Give up a defensive touchdown, your chance of winning go way down. Chase Brown, 19 carries for 170 yards. Pretty good day, but not a great day. 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Not a great day, just a decent day. Mitch Tinsley had 2 catches, 29 yards, and T. Higgins got hurt in that game, which is bad for the Bengals in the near future. Okay, Jamar Chase probably back to Thanksgiving, so that'd be good for Joe Burrow. Pittsburgh Steelers at Chicago Bears. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, big game for them. Although Aaron Rodgers was out, but they needed to win this game to stay ahead of the Ravens. The Bears are trying to stay ahead of the Lions and the Packers in the NFC North. This was a big game for both teams, okay? Pittsburgh came in. Mason Rudolph had to get the start. He completed 24 for 31 passes, 171 yards, threw 1 touchdown, but threw 1 interception, which ended up being problematic. Kenneth Gainwell had 10 carries for 92 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. DK Metcalf had 5 catches, 22 yards, 0 touchdowns. Caleb Williams for the Bears went 19 for 35 for 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a big day for him. That's a good game for Caleb Williams. Kyle Monangai, the running back, who no one's ever heard of before, 12 carries, 48 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 fumbles. Not a great day, but a decent game for a guy no one's ever heard of, Kyle Monangai. DJ Moore had 5 catches, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's probably the difference in this game. Bears win 31-28. Real difference in this game is interception by Mason Rudolph. The Bears turned into touchdowns. 2 turnovers, 2 touchdowns. So Steelers gave away the game to the Bears. And they gave away the lead in the NFC or AFC North to the Ravens. Speaking of the Ravens, New York Jets at Baltimore Ravens. Tyrod Taylor was the starter for the Jets. He went 17 for 28 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Breece Hall had 16 catches, 44 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 fumble. John Mechie had 6 carries, 65 yards, 1 touchdown. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson went 13 for 23 for 153 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Not a great day by Lamar. Derrick Henry had 21 carries for 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns are huge. Zay Flowers had 5 catches, 58 yards, and no touchdowns. This is the grind out kind of game I mentioned it would be. But the Jets just couldn't score in the red zone. They could not score in the red zone. They could not pick it. They went for 4th down multiple times and could not pick it up. And that gave the Ravens a chance to take the lead and win the game 23-10 to tie it up in the top of the AFC North with the Steelers. Okay. Another big game, New York Giants at Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions trying to stay with the Bears at the top of the NFC North. They expect to win that division, but the Bears are kind of overtaking them right now. So to avoid complete overtake, they need to do well against the Giants. Giants, Jameis Winston came in, went 18 for 36, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's a big game by him. And he caught a touchdown pass off a trick play. Giants came out, run all kinds of trick plays, and took an early lead in this game. Tyrone Tracy, 20 carries, 62 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Wan'Dale Robinson had a big day of 9 catches, 156 yards, 1 touchdown. So that's huge for fantasy owners. And the Giants had the lead into the 4th quarter in this game. They had a chance to upset the Lions. Now that's foreshadowing. They had a chance. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff went 28 for 42, 279 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a great day. Jahmyr Gibbs went off for 15 runs for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no fumbles. And that really tells you the story of this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 9 catches and 49 yards and 1 touchdown. Big game for him. Okay, so what happened? Giants took a lead early. With a lead, the Detroit and Lions went back and forth. Detroit Lions and Giants went back and forth. But the Lions were able to run the ball almost nonstop, 11 yards a carry, and come back and force overtime with a 59-yard kick by Jake Bates. Okay, and then they came out and busted off a 69-yard run by Jahmyr Gibbs to win the game. Now, the Giants got a chance to go back on offense, which is the way overtime's played now, but Aiden Hutchinson sacked him at the end to end the game. So the Lions avoid the embarrassing loss to the New York Giants. That would have been very embarrassing for them and would have put them 2 games behind the Bears. Seattle Seahawks at Tennessee. The Lions won 34-27 in overtime. I forgot to say that. Lions won 34-27 in overtime. All right, Seattle Seahawks at Tennessee Titans. Really should have been a kind of a slam dunk for the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold, after his 4-interception game against the Rams last week, came in, went 16 for 26 for 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kenneth Walker on his return had 11 carries for 71 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba had 167 passing yards for 2 touchdowns. Big day for Seattle Seahawks offensively. Not so much defensively. Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward came out, went 28 for 42, 256 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Pretty good day there. Tony Pollard only had 20 yards on 11 carries. That's not a great day. And Shamir Dykes had 5 catches, 44 yards. Not a big day by Tennessee, but enough to hang around. They hung around. They got a defensive touchdown. They hung around, but they lost. The Seahawks with 4 sacks. And Seahawks win 30-24 against Tennessee. Not impressive, but they needed a win, and they got a win. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars at Arizona Cardinals. Another game where it should have been the Jaguars probably playing pretty well, but it did not happen that way. Trevor Lawrence came in to Arizona, went 18 for 30 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Ouch. And he fumbled the ball. He got returned for a touchdown. Ouch. That's 4 major turnovers for Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne had 15 carries for 86 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Parker Washington had 5 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Everyone had a decent game, but the Jaguars, except for Trevor Lawrence, who completely stunk the place up. 3 interceptions and a fumble for a defensive touchdown. Arizona Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett came out and went 33 for 49 for 317 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Michael Carter, who was their running back, had 5 runs for 28 yards. Run game is gone, non-existent for the Cardinals. Michael Wilson had 10 catches for 118 yards, 0 touchdowns, what kept them afloat. They ended up forcing overtime against the Jaguars with all these turnovers, but the Jaguars pulled it out 27-24, just grinding it out. They had 6 sacks against Jacoby Brissett, so that's pretty bad. Now, Trevor Lawrence definitely stunk the place up, but they overcame it. Probably because the Cardinals have no run game. They can't control the pace of the game. Okay, Cleveland Browns at Las Vegas Raiders. Shedeur Sanders got his first official start. Shedeur Sanders went 11 for 20 for 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a bad day for him. Quinton Judkins ran the ball 16 times for 47 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0. He didn't punch anyone either. That's good. Isaiah Bond had 2 catches, 58 yards, 0 touchdowns. They had 10 quarterback sacks, with Myles Garrett having 3 of those. That's real bad for the Raiders. Geno Smith came out, even though he was sacked 10 times, went 30 for 44, which to me is a little impressive. He had 285 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, which is impressive when you're getting sacked 10 times in the game. Ashton Jeanty had 17 carries for 50 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Tyler Lockett had 4 carries for 60 yards, 0 touchdowns. And Chip Kelly met his end in this game. So what happened? The Browns won 24-10. Chip Kelly got fired. That new guy is hired. Greg Olson is now their OC. So, Philadelphia Eagles at Dallas Cowboys. Jalen Hurts. This was a big Sunday afternoon game. Jalen Hurts came out and went 22 for 39, 289 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Saquon Barkley had only 10 runs for 22 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 fumble. A.J. Brown had 8 catches for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. And you hear about the Dallas Cowboys not having a very good run defense. And he only ran the ball with Saquon Barkley 10 times. That's probably not the right way to attack this team. Dak Prescott went 23 for 36, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Javonte Williams had 20 carries for 87 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You probably shouldn't have Javonte Williams with more carries than Saquon Barkley, honestly. And then George Pickens had 9 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown and a big catch in the fourth quarter to set up the final outcome in this game, which is Dallas winning the game 24-21. Now, interesting, Eagles took a 21-0 lead by halftime, and the Dallas Cowboys came back and scored 24 unanswered points in the second half because their defense was playing lights out. As I mentioned in an article last week, tale of two defenses, the battle for the NFC East. That was going to be the case. It was going to be a defensive showdown. Even though it didn't look the way on the scoreboard, it ended up being that way on the field. Just not at the same time. So it was Philadelphia's defense was really good in the first half. Cowboys were really good in the second half. Second half won it out. Okay, Atlanta Falcons at New Orleans Saints. Kirk Cousins for the Falcons because Michael Penix Jr. has a torn ACL. Went 16 for 23 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson had 14 carries for 70 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interception, or 0 fumbles. Darnell Mooney, not Drake London, had 3 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. He was their leading receiver. New Orleans Saints, Tyler Shook went 30 for 43, 293 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a bad day, but 0 touchdowns is bad compared to Kirk Cousins, too. Kirk Cousins shouldn't lead in touchdowns in the game. Devin Neal had 7 runs, 18 yards. That's a real bad sign. Chris Olave had 9 catches for 70 yards. That's less than 10 yards to catch, and they had no running game. What happened in this game? Falcons won 24-10 in the Superdome. They probably called it the Mercedes-Benz. Everyone's the Mercedes-Benz, but it's still Superdome in my heart. Okay. Whew, 2 more games. All right, so Sunday night game, we had Tampa Bay Buccaneers, LA Rams, a battle between the NFC South #1 team and NFC West #1 team. What happened in this game? Well, Baker Mayfield came out and struggled against the Rams' aggressive defense, who went 9 for 19, 41 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he hurt his shoulder. It's not a fracture, so he'll probably be able to play next week. But he got terrorized by the Rams defense. Sean Taylor, I believe that's his name. Sean Tucker, had 12 runs for 42 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles, no touchdowns. Tez Johnson had 3 catches, 21 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's probably a bad sign when Tez Johnson's your leading receiver. Matthew Stafford went 25 for 35, 273 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This is like the 5th time in a row he's had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's pretty amazing. I looked at his stats yesterday in my stats breakdown. He had 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the season. That's really good. Kyron Williams had 12 runs for 46 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Devontae Adams had 5 catches, 62 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And what happened in this game? The Rams stomped the crap out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had 4 sacks, and they knocked Baker Mayfield out of the game. Teddy Bridgewater came in and didn't do anything. So, Rams destroyed the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers don't usually turn the ball over, and Rams took away 2 of them. So, I mean, that's a bad day for the Buccaneers. Carolina Panthers at San Francisco 49ers. Bryce Young came out for the Panthers, went 18 for 29, 169 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Rico Dowdle had 6 catches for 38 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Tet McMillan had 2 catches for 35 yards, 1 touchdown. 49ers, Brock Purdy came out and went 23 for 32, 193 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Both offenses played really bad in this game. Christian McCaffrey had 24 carries for 89 yards, 1 touchdown. He was probably the guiding light for them. And Jawan Jennings, after getting punched in the ground, had 5 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. What happened in this game? Well, the Carolina Panthers intercepted 3 passes from Brock Purdy, but the Niners kept stopping him, and their offense couldn't build upon those interceptions. So what happened? Niners win 20-9. All right, so that's the results of Week 12. So let's look at our updated power rankings. First in the AFC, at #1, I got the Denver Broncos, who are 9-2. #2, they didn't play this week. I still think they're better than New England, honestly. Better defense. New England has nothing special. They just played some bad teams and won, including Buffalo. #2, New England Patriots are 10-2. I got the #2. #3, Indianapolis Colts, after getting beat by the Chiefs. They just lost their identity and did not use Jonathan Taylor properly, and that knocks you down, man. They're #3. #4, Baltimore Ravens are probably the hottest team in the AFC right now. They're working their way up, other than the Patriots, who have a 9-game winning streak. Ravens have a 5-game winning streak. Denver has an 8-game winning streak. So they're not the hottest team in the AFC, but they are the quickest climber. They're now at the top of the AFC North, and they're back in the playoff picture. #5, Buffalo Bills at 7-4. They're just hanging around. They got problems, but not every team can beat them. Number 6, Jacksonville Jaguars are 7-4, kind of the same way, hanging around. They got problems. Not everyone can beat them. So there's around there. They're a fringe team. Number 7, LA Chargers are hanging on desperately to their 7th spot, into a playoff spot right now. Kansas City Chiefs are 6-5 and right behind them, and are basically ready to take their playoff spot if they continue to struggle. They are getting Omari on Hampton back. They're trying to bail water and get a couple more wins to clinch their playoff spot. Number 9, Houston Texans are 6-5. They should be higher, but I mean their offense has not shown up. So everyone knows Buffalo's defense is bad at stopping the run. Everyone knows Buffalo's offense is bad when you force Josh Allen to not be able to run the ball. So, and he has no deep threats, so there's not a lot of answers. So I don't think the Houston Texans are that impressive this week. I think the 6-5 record is more unimpressive than the win over Buffalo. Okay, the Dolphins beat them. Enough said. You don't get a cookie for that, Houston Texans. Number 10, Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-5. They're falling out of things, man. The Aaron Rodgers situation happened, and they've been falling out anyway, so not good for them. 11, Miami Dolphins are 4-7. They're slowly climbing up. They had a bye week, so they didn't get to climb up further. Number 12, Cleveland Browns are 3-8. Yeah, they are what they are. They're bad. Number 13, Cincinnati Bengals are 3-8. Once again, they're bad. New York Jets are 2-9. They're going to rebuild, most likely. Number 15, Las Vegas Raiders are 2-9. They're going to rebuild. And number 16, Tennessee Titans, they're in the middle of rebuilding. They're 1-10. Okay, so that's your AFC power rankings. And the NFC, things have changed a little bit. I have resisted putting the Rams ahead of the Eagles because the Rams have not proven they can beat the Eagles. But this week was too much for the Eagles, losing to the Cowboys, who really are not a top team in the NFC, and the Rams destroying Tampa Bay, who's one of the better teams. So, number 1 in the NFC for me is the LA Rams at 9-2. Number 2, Seattle Seahawks at 8-3, which is weird. They're right there. They don't seem that great, but it's all relative. Number 3 is Green Bay Packers. They're assuming consistent to be number 2. Number 4 is the Philadelphia Eagles. They got shown some real problems they have against the Dallas Cowboys. I think people will start attacking that. I think they'll have a rough ride the rest of the way. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers are 8-4. Number 6, Chicago Bears are 8-3. They're kind of accelerating upward to the top of the NFC North. So if they can keep that going, they do hit a much tougher part of their schedule coming up, though. Number 7, Detroit Lions are 7-4, just hanging around behind the Bears, waiting for them to falter. Number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 6-5, with the Carolina Panthers hanging around, waiting for them to falter. Number 9, Dallas Cowboys are 5-1, and they're looking at earning a playoff spot. That's what they're looking for. They're 2 games out of first place in the NFC North, 2.5 games out. So that's a lot, but they are looking for a wild card spot, which I think they can get. Their defense is a lot better with Quinnen Williams and Luke Wilson in it. Logan Wilson, sorry. Number 10, Carolina Panthers 6-6. They missed a big opportunity to jump ahead of Tampa Bay in the NFC South when they got destroyed by the LA Rams, the San Francisco 49ers. Got destroyed by them because they could not score. 11, Atlanta Falcons are 4-7. Number 12, Minnesota Vikings are 4-7. Number 13, Arizona Cardinals are 3-8. Washington Commanders are 3-8. New York Giants are 2-10. And then last place is New Orleans Saints at 2-9. So that's your NFC power rankings. We'll be making shorts of that here in a minute. In the CFL, there were some signings the last couple of days. The first, Ottawa Red Blacks have signed American defensive lineman Trayvon Ryblock. They signed national wide receiver Ethan Jordan. BC Lions signed American wide receiver Caden Robinson. They signed American defensive back Donovan D.K. Kaufman. They signed national defensive line Anthony Bennett. Montreal Alouettes signed national wide receiver Isaac Galliardeta, and they signed American offensive lineman Donald Ventrilo. Okay, Edmonton Elks signed American wide receiver Justin McGriff, who kind of bounced around with the Tiger Cats and stuff. Signed American wide receiver Justin Lockhart. Tiger Cats, they re-signed national long snapper Gordon Wright. I wrote about that yesterday on CFLNewsHub.com, and they signed American defensive back Kendall Bowler I also broke down that signing on CFLNewsHub.com. And then last night on CFL transactions page, meaning not officially from the team, they signed defensive lineman Branson Dean. And a lot of times, a lot of people they sign this time of year are like camp bodies and for rookie mini camp to get evaluated. But I think Brandon Dean actually might have a chance to be a contributor for the Tiger Cats because they need interior defensive linemen to stop the run. He's 6'2", 280. He spent time with the Buffalo Bills in 2024. He played at Miami in 2023. Played 11 games, 6 solo tackles, 12 assists, 2.5 sacks. He might be a good guy to hold the ground in the middle of the. And he played at Purdue for 5 seasons, 39 games at Purdue. For the Boilermakers, 49 tackles, solo tackles, 25 assists, 8.0 quarterback sacks. That's pretty good. I think he might be able to fit in as a run stopper for the Tiger Cats, which they really, really need. So, that would be huge for him to be able to play that role. But we'll see what happens. That is the news for today. That's Football Scientific. That's our Week 12 of the NFL season review and our AFC and NFC power rankings. I hope you enjoyed those. And check out my power rankings for the league tomorrow. I'll be breaking out that article starting tonight for Week 13 and look at who the best teams are going to Week 13 and Thanksgiving and Black Friday game and stuff like that. So it should be a fun time, really, for all the NFL football fans. My uncle used to say that Thanksgiving is like Christmas Day for NFL fans. So I guess we'll get that going for us. That's nice. And we got some food going on Thanksgiving, which is also pretty good. So should be a good all-around day. As long as, Detroit wins, Dallas loses, and I really want Dallas to lose against the Chiefs. Not really, I don't think. All right. Maybe the Bengals will win. Maybe a Thanksgiving Day miracle against the Ravens. We'll see. Remember, check out my articles on footballanalysis1.com. I am the professor of football science, Aaron Sauter. I spent a large part of my life developing analytical tools for assessing NFL football, CFL football, UFL football. I've been a writer for a long time for footballanalysis1.com, CFLNewsHub.com, UFLNewsHub.com. I'm also actually a science person. I have a chemistry degree, and I teach chemistry, and I teach physics. So it's really not that far off saying a professor of football science. I've been involved in football since I was 8, and I'm 47 now. That's 39 years in football. So it's given me some insight of how to predict these leagues and stuff. So check out footballanalysis1.com, CFLNewsHub.com, and UFLNewsHub.com. And for today, that ends our Football Scientific Week 12 analysis show of the NFL, and we're closing the Football Scientific portal.